Hi, this is Dashiell from LearnByBlogging.com. Today I want to give a review of this book that's called The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett. This is a pretty old novel written back in 1929, I believe. And I normally don't read fiction, but this book was highly recommended by Eric Larson in Wall Street Journal Book Club. And a lot of other reputable authors and professors also make reference to it. So I decided to read it, or actually listen to the audiobook. And there's a so spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book, you might want to read it first before you watch this, or read this my review. You can check out the plot in the Wikipedia as well. Very convenient, you can find out what's going on. So what is so special about this highly charged, fast-paced detective thriller novel? And number one is that the plot is actually a lot of twist and turn and not very predictable. And everyone could be a killer of the three people who actually die. And number two, the dialogue is written in a way that people talk with emotion. There's a lot of talking over each other. Pausing and all that, and the audiobook narrator did a great job of mimicking the voices of the key characters, like the old narrated radio show. I think that's the novel actually was broadcast in a radio show back in the early days. Sam Spade, the main detective character, who may be too crooked to be in the detective business, but for example, he slept with the partner's wife, he slept with the beautiful client, Bridget, and at the end, he needed to come up with the fall guy before the cop can get him entangled in the murder cases. So he drew the line where he saw that justice must be done for his partner, Miles Archer, despite his love toward Bridget and the conniving woman who tried to take advantage of his favoritism toward her, or his love for her. Number four, I Won't Play the Sap for You was repeated several times by Sam Spade when he was trying to get a confession out of Bridget, who turned out to be the killer of his partner in the dark alley in cold blood. So I won't play the sap for you probably mean that I won't be the fall guy. I won't take the fall for you. Number five, the woman Bridget O'Shaughnessy turned out to be the ultimate villain in the novel. At the end, he went quietly with the police and still acting like a lady. Nowadays, she would have thrown a tantrum and become a monster with the violence, just like Fatal Attraction or something like that. As the lady is still acting like a lady. So back in those days, the novel went against the woman's instinct of the secretary Effie Perrin, that Miss Wonderly, aka Bridget O'Shaughnessy, is not a bad person according to her. Obviously, the author did not have a high regard for women in general, and the three women in the novel did not turn out to be the modern woman that we are come to know. And kind of depicted the woman to be not too bright and conniving and could be tricked into sleeping with the detective. So interesting depiction. Number seven, the several stereotypes were cast in the novel. The fat man, the Casper Gutman, the boy lover Joe Cairo, and the young punk Wilmer Cook, and the chain-smoking street-smart detective, of course, the main character, Sam Spade. A lot of stereotyping. Number eight, how the Maltese Falcon came about was based on the same historical fact. Is a gift for the King of Spain from the Knights of Malta as part of the condition of giving them the three islands of Gozo, Tripoli, and Malta after they were chased out of Rhodes back in 1523. And I heard a similar story when I was at Rose Island last summer, and while on vacation. So that part of the story kind of jived with me. Number 9, ironically, at the end, Maltese Falcon was a fake one, and surprise! The 4 men died in vain, and all because of the greed. Pretty sad ending. So overall, it's a good novel. It's a classic detective 1929 novel. And Humphrey, you should always also watch the movie version. Humphrey Bogart was phenomenal in this 1941 movie. So the dialogue was hard to understand, and probably because of the poor audio quality and the idioms that used in those era. And black and white TV is hard to watch. And there's a lot of that movie has a lot of indoor scenes, and you can tell it's kind of poor production. It's a kind of cheap production. But anyway, I had to read the book to figure out what happened, and the plots were somewhat believable with enough twists and turns to be a good detective novel. And the San Francisco Street venues were mostly true and traceable by a lot of people. They actually traced the whole plot through the Post Street or different street name that was named in the novel. So overall, it's a pretty decent book. Could be a classic, or some people call it classic, but I'm not much of a fiction lover. So I enjoy the detective, the thrills, and movie and the novel, and etc. So that's all I have. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye now.